Hey guys, my name is James.
Hi, I'm Hazel.
And welcome back to
The Couples Classroom.
Counting down the days till we say I do.
Today we have a very special guest. My co-host Qijia loves her so much that she named herself after her. Let's welcome Evelyn Tan.
Hi, everybody. Hello, Hazel. Hi, James.
Hi.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
No, thank you for
being here.
coming. Did you know that Qijia really adores you?
Yes, we
from
have talked about it many, many times.
Really?
Hi, Evelyn. Hi, Evelyn.
No, they kind of look alike, don't you think?
You think so?
I think, yeah, a little bit, yes.
Oh, that's a compliment to me. She's so much younger.
She tells me so many nice things about you that
Thank
when I
you.
told her that I'm going to invite you to our podcast, she squealed. Yeah, so you can bet that she's tuning into this episode.
Hi, Tijia.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you. It's really my pleasure. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm so happy that, you and James are tying the knot. And, it's it brings me back to the good old days. So many years ago.
Wow, this is the couple classroom. We really want to deep dive into your relationship with Darren.
Okay.
But before that, for anyone who don't know who you are, can you introduce yourself?
Sure, my pleasure. Okay, hi everyone. I'm Evelyn. I'm the other half of my lovely husband, Darren. Darren Lim. And together we have got 4 kids. So for those of you who are in my era, you will know that, I have sung a National Day song together before. And I have had some albums to my name. And right now, I'm a full-time mother and part-time everything else.
All-rounder, that's what I would
Yes,
say.
yeah.
Yes.
And I think Evelyn is the perfect fit for our episode today because James and I have gotten this question so much. And that is, how do you navigate your religious differences? So James is a Christian while I'm not. And we thought that it would be absolutely perfect to have someone on board, especially also because you have the number of kids, the exact number of kids that I wish for. Like,
Which is 4.
yes. Like, there's so many things happening, and how do you navigate all of those? Okay. But before we begin, let's bring time back all the way to right before you and Darren got married.
Okay.
How were the differences between you guys like? Were you guys already Christians back then?
Oh, okay. So at the point in time when I got to know Darren, I was not a Christian, neither was he. But it was because his family was going through some issues and they came to know Christ. And I saw the whole family unite together. And because I was his girlfriend at the time, and when he went service, he brought me along. And I think, it was through that interaction, both of us actually became Christians together. Yeah. So it was not me bringing him to Christ or him bringing me to Christ.
And you guys stepped into this
Yeah, we stepped
as
into
a
this
unit.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, so for me, I thought that was something very beautiful. It was, it heralded a start in something beautiful together, as a couple. Yeah, and it's very special to me.
How come I've seen some reports where that your father has once told Darren to not come back to the family? Like, is that true?
Generally, parents are more protective over their daughters, right?
Of course.
Yeah, that's right. I'm the only daughter some more, so my father naturally would want to help me, suss out all the guys who come chasing after me. And then so here comes this guy who is from the entertainment industry, so already there, 他会不会是花花公子 is already on his mind, correct? Yeah. Is he a player? So no, not so sure. And then maybe also at the same time, because he's of a different faith, and he brought me to that faith according to him. Maybe he might have thought of it that way. So again, there's a difference between where he comes from and who Darren is trying to bring me to. So maybe all that just compounds things up. Yeah, and also we are of a different educational background.
Right.
Darren is from the University of Society. 大学毕业的, 就是社会大学毕业的, yeah. Whereas, well, I have really taken the traditional route of, going through my A's and everything until I graduated. Yeah. So maybe that was also a concern that, maybe in terms of our, the way we look at life, will we have very different worldviews? And, so maybe he was just trying to preempt things, such things from happening and just warning me in advance.
And how did that get reconciled in the end? Are they okay now?
I think time. Yeah, they are fine. Yes, that's right. Yeah, I think sometimes I get a bit jealous. I feel that my father will take care of my husband more than he takes care of me. 他喜欢 like Darren always loves to drink 八加一嘛。So every time 我回到娘家一定有八加一的，可是我的饮料嘞，怎么没有
Sorry, I
None for you.
8加1.
What is 8加1?
What is 8 plus 1? Yes.
But that's such a nice feeling, isn't it? That your own parent is so supportive of your other half. Like,
Yes.
someone once asked my mom, if James and Hazel quarrel, whose side will you be on? She was like, maybe James Law, because he's so sweet. He's like,
parents
我
are the
亲生的. Then I asked my mom, then me leh? 我不是你亲生的吗？我不是你亲生的吗? But it's great that to see that they have such a rapport between each other.
Yes. Yeah. It's that. It's so lovely when you hear of a parent accepting somebody from out of your inner circle into their circle, right? Yeah. So I think this is the most beautiful part about a union.
Yeah.
You're not just marrying another person, but you're also bringing with you along your whole entourage, your whole village, into that union.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine how hard that must have been.
Yeah, so just now you were saying that because you and Darren, you both are two very different people.
Yes.
And of course, your dad is not approve of Darren at first.
Yes.
And how did you guys solve that?
I think we took time
Okay.
to convince him, to show him that we are serious about each other.
Right.
And that, with time, we have been able to reconcile the differences that we may have. Yeah.
And that is
then-
before the marriage?
Yeah, definitely,
Okay.
definitely. So 我跟明伦都坚信，如果说我们没有得到父母亲的赞同的话、认同的话，if we don't get the blessings, then we just wait further lah. Yeah, that's right. But then the 6 years of Pak Tor that we had, was not because we were waiting for them. Rather, I think, it was our need to make sure that we work out all the differences that we had first before we confirm that, okay, this is really for keeps. Yeah.
What were some of the signs that you and Darren had? Then you were like, okay, Darren is the one.
Frankly, James, I cannot tell you that there was wow, one day the light bulb illuminated and okay, this is the guy.
Yeah.
So I think I'm a more careful person.
Okay.
Yeah. So I thought that for me, it was just a constant process of asking myself the same question and then sensing whether, are there anything that's amiss? Is he acting in front of me? 他是个戏子嘛，对不对？Is he acting in front of me? Is he really authentically sincere about me? And really to use time to prove his love. Yeah. And I think, in and through that whole period where we were dating, he gave me a very comforting sense of being with somebody who truly treasures me.
Yep.
Yeah. And I feel respected in the relationship. I feel valued. I think, there were a lot of things that helped me see that, okay, our values are actually aligned. Even though we can come from very different backgrounds, but our values are very aligned. He would tell you straight into our maybe first or second month of our Pak Tor, our relationship, he would already ask me, hey, so, shall we have 6 kids together next time?
Wow.
Really? 2 months in?
He one up you.
Yeah.
He only asked if I want 4.
So did you ask him into 2 months of your relationship?
I did propose, not 2 months in. Not 2 months
1
in.
month in.
Yeah, but we both knew that we wanted to have kids.
Yeah.
Like kids is in
Yeah.
the equation.
That's
definitely.
right.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think that is also very important for me because I'm also I'm also very, very family focused
Yep.
person. Yeah. And I know that I want to have kids. Yeah. So this
beautiful.
was very early on, but 6, I was like, okay, maybe he's just, just joking with me. Yeah. So the way we relate to our families,
Yes.
even our extended families,
Yes.
helped me see that, we were brought up very much in the same way, with the same minded of putting family as our focus.
So there were in no instance in your relationship where you felt like you have to give up parts of how you were raised.
I would say that one of the reasons why I chose him was because we felt like, there were many values that gelled. Okay, yeah. Whether we had to give up. Okay, so I wouldn't say give up. I would say, we might have to make some adjustments, some tweaking. Yeah. So I'll give you an example. For example, I'm a very, very, I'm a science person. I'm
Okay.
a science student, okay?
Yep.
So, with titration, now you have to rinse your flask first with whatever, solution that you're going to titrate, right?
Wow, this is bringing back memories.
Yeah, to make sure that, you will get a very, very reliable result, a very accurate result, right? So I'm that kind of person, who would, when I maybe take a clean plate, all right, that I'm going to use, I'll rinse it with hot water first, then maybe give it another wipe, dry with a clean tissue, that kind of thing, And for him, it's like, why do you need to do that?
Oh
so
my
yeah,
gosh.
so he's a very straightforward, 觉得说是那种拉三夹拉三短的那种人
Yeah.
No, because
很直率的
we felt that in our relationship.
Oh,
And we
really?
talked
Okay.
about it before. Like
Yes.
cleanliness is one thing that I think both of us from the get-go, we have a different cleanliness standard of
Yes.
standards.
Yeah.
And it might be it's a boy and girl thing.
Okay.
Do you think so?
I think it's just a personal thing, Like for me, I would you know, 我们吵架吵得最多的
Yes.
after we got married,
Tell
was
us.
you know, me using tissue. He will complain about me, you know, just doing this.
Using too many tissues.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
he
but
thinks
I
it's
want-
wasteful.
Things that, you know, why do you have to do that? I'm saying, why can't I do this? This is my preference, you know. 我快手快脚嘛，我就
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll save it. It's not like I'm going to waste it. But he says, no, you don't need. You just need a corner to wipe the corner of your mouth, correct? Not. So in fact, that one tissue is more than enough. Oh. So we were, and then, you know, so we share toothpaste lah. Sorry, yeah. I know some couples may not find this.
Toothpaste or toothbrush?
Toothpaste,
is-
not toothbrush, yeah.
Do people have two toothpaste?
Yeah, now
Really?
we do. Now we do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I remember our PDPD I mentioned before. She's very particular about the way the toothpaste is being squeezed.
Wow.
Is that the reason why?
I never expected this would be a point of contention. I'm like, what's the problem?
Wait,
Just
so-
squeeze up. Why would I be bothered about whether it's squeezed from the middle or whether it's squeezed from the end?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
just squeeze. Then for him, it's like, no, you must go from the end up. I don't understand. So
okay.
for that, you know, I also kena. Yeah. Then,
Interesting.
you know, the toilet seat also, right?
Yeah.
Also, I think, you know, probably
Yes.
it also... Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
So whether it's up or down, you know, he will also have things to say. Then after getting married to him, I realized that there's so many things about you that are you're so fussy. I didn't realize, you know, when I was deeply in love with you for the last 6 years. Why didn't I see it before? So there's definitely a lot of adjustments that we had to
Right.
do after getting, you know, into a marriage with each other. But all for the better. I feel that, you know, we become more sensitive to each other's needs. Yeah. So much so that right now, you know, things like that still happens. But I think there's a lot more forbearance, a lot more patience and love for each other. And we can just so-called take each other's shit. Take each other's nonsense.
No, that's a good thing.
Yes.
Did you guys ever consider staying together before marriage? Or was it a big no-no?
Yeah, I think that was something that I would not have gone down with my parents well. Yeah,
Right.
so we did not explore that idea at all.
Okay.
Okay. You guys were Christian before you got married?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And how did faith play a part in your relationship?
Obviously, we are two different people, right? And when two different people come together, there will definitely be clashes.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. So in many ways, because of the faith, I think, you know, it gave us that perspective of how Christ, you know, was willing to give up himself for the other person. Yeah. And I think we modeled after him. We try to at least, you know, especially when we were very young in our faith, you know, it would be like, you know, we pray, God, you change him. You please make him see why, you know, it's not like that. It shouldn't be and all that, you know. Yeah, it's still very, very self-centered way of thinking. But as you grow deeper and deeper and you become, you understand more and more about the Father's heart, behind, you know, how that forbearance can come into place to love that person into changing even, then it takes on a very totally different layer altogether.
No, that sounds like something that I can learn from as well. Did you think that the process was very long?
Actually, you know, you think about it now, I look back, wow, 20 over years has passed. Yeah. So at that point in time when you're thinking about it, maybe, you know, you did feel like, when is he going to change? When he's ever going to be able to see my way, things my way?
Right.
You might feel that, you know, it's never going to come. But when you look back now, hey, time just flew past. Thankfully, we're still in love with each other. And, you know, we have gotten to another level where there's so much more understanding and so much more acceptance.
Yeah, and I think from your point of view as well, right? You mentioned it is a lot of self-centered thinking.
Yeah.
How long did that shift take?
We would always tell couples that, you know, when we quarrel, it is always with the intention of clarification, for understanding, for communication. Yeah. So we have had lots of those intense communication, we call it, quarrels, right? Yeah. When you reframe it and think about it positively, it's really just communication. We want to communicate to each other what we really feel, you know, how or what you've said, how it has affected me. Or, you know, why certain things needs to be done this way according to my perspective. I think because of this constant quarrels and constant intense communication that we had, we were able to maybe get on better. And so always it is with that positive thinking that we're going to intensely communicate so that we get to a better level of understanding.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to touch on one thing, and maybe some people may not know, is that you and Darren live on a yacht.
Yeah.
And I want to
Yes.
go there a little bit because I've never met any Singaporean who lived on a yacht. And you guys lived there for
A solid 4.5 years.
4.5 years. And
that's right.
I believe that season in your life, change who you are and has shaped who you and Darren is. Can you tell us a little bit more? Why do you guys choose to stay in a yacht? What do you guys do there?
Okay, yeah. All right, let me just start with how this thing came about.
Yes.
When we were going to get married, all right, Darren didn't propose using the, hey, let's BTO or something. He just asked me, hey, you see that place, that yacht there? You think it's nice? Shall we go and live, just get that one instead of a normal flat lah.
Yeah.
So at that time I was like, you crazy. This one is a liability, you're not going to have, you're not going to start on a firm ground. It'll be very shaky foundation. Say no, so you're not going to go and live on a yacht. Okay. And then, but later, subsequently, he really loves the sea for Darren. Yeah. He is a sea lover. He is a diver. He really loves all things, related to the sun, the sea, the sand. And I think there came a point where it was available to us, this option of us staying on board and taking the children, because we were homeschooling then.
Yeah.
So we were hoping that, with that experience, we could take the children to see the world in a very, very different way, to learn about the world we live in a different way. So to homeschool, not just at home, but also, see the whole world. So in a way, world school, if you put it, even in a grander way of saying things.
Right.
At that point in time, I think I was receptive, because I had children that I really wanted to see the world with. And so it was not for him, unfortunately.
You said yes for the children.
But I'm curious, how your parents reacted though?
Yeah, so I think a lot of us, even my friends, would ask me, are you sure? What if there are pirates? It's so dangerous. The sea is unpredictable, when you sail and all that. So I did have to, so it was a conversation that we had to really honestly talk about, like when we do sail, all right, what are the possible chances of us meeting with mishaps that, we will not be able to live with for the rest of our life. We can't answer ourselves, if let's say any of our children were to fall into sea and then get lost and things like that, right? All these are really real concerns. So we really had to have really serious conversations. So I think, what we did was then, okay, this is a situation. We do have dreams, a big dream of wanting to see the world with the kids, all right? We also have these concerns. So what are we going to do about that? So what we did was we collectively sought advice. We collectively, came out, brainstorm ideas about how we can address those fears, right? So we were staying at a marina then, thinking about, okay, whether we were really going to move out and really see the world, do that big move. And there will be people who will be passing by the marina, and then you'll hear about this couple who have sailed from here to here and all that, and they're in the marina. Come, let's go and talk to them. So we sought out these experienced sailors and spoke to them and found out about their own experience. And generally, then I think we feel more affirmed about our decisions to do that. Yeah. And these days, if you were to go and look at YouTube, you will be able to see that, there are lots of people doing that. And they're still safe, and things can be managed in a way that you can mitigate the risks.
Right.
Yeah.
So these convince your parents to let you go ahead with it.
I think at that point in time, they were probably already quite resigned. These two cannot stop them from doing what they want. But but I think what we needed to do then as children is to allay their fears and assure them that we know what we're doing.
I believe you guys have faced many challenges on the yacht.
Yeah.
Were there any that shaped who you guys are today?
This might sound a bit cliche, but we are really on that voyage of life.
Oh, that's so good.
Whether you have a boat or not, you're really on this voyage of life where you have your partner and both of you are on the same boat. So whether that boat sinks or whether that boat floats is really up to you as captain and crew. All right. Yeah. Sometimes you play the captain, sometimes he play the crew. And sometimes we have to take shifts, right? Yeah. That you have to manage it well so that you guys keep afloat and then you can arrive at the destination that you want to go to.
Wow.
And celebrate.
This is deeper than I thought.
Yeah.
Well, everything went well, so I think your relationship. Get it? Your relationship.
Your relationship.
It's a float ship.
Your relationship is still,
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, what's the furthest you guys have traveled to on that yacht?
Okay, so we went up to Koh Samui. We went up to
Thailand.
Phuket. Yeah. So the plan was actually to go even further, but then PSLE came, so we had to cut short. So now we will shelve this plan for now. The kids are in a different season. So are we. So we are going to wait until the kids are all fully grown, and we still have the boat. So we will use this as our retirement home.
What?
Oh my gosh. I want to do it.
That's a very bold decision. I think another bold decision was also to homeschool the kids.
Yes.
Which I wanted to talk to you about.
Yes.
What made you decide to homeschool 4 kids in an environment like Singapore?
Okay, so my husband is the one with lots of crazy ideas. But I went along this time round, okay? There were other crazy ideas that you all don't want to hear about. Okay, anyways. So this one I went along because, I think for me, I felt that having kids meant growing along with them and really understanding them. Okay, so he convinced me when, he shared with me the experience that he had. He was interviewing some homeschooling families for one of the programs that he was doing. And in that program, he saw how well-behaved the kids were and the opportunities that they were given, when parents are very involved in the learning of the children.
Yep.
And so these children, they speak as though like they're little adults. And he was really impressed. Yeah. So we did all our homework lah. So we met these families and all that, and then talked to them. And I thought, what a lovely opportunity it would be if, let's say, because I was a full-time mom and part-time everything, right? Yeah. We were able to have that time of our life to spend with them to give input into their studying, into their growing as a person.
Yep.
Early on. Yeah. So we thought, okay, well let's do this. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, and 一做就做了 how many years was it, the whole homeschooling journey?
Okay, so I've graduated 2 children. The other 2, one never did any homeschooling at all. COVID came, and then the other one was returned to school. Yeah, he returned to school. So I think the whole journey lasted about 10 over years at least. Yeah,
That is honestly impressive.
10多年吧.
Did you feel like you had to set aside your own dreams and ambitions? I mean, you are an incredible host. You appear in front of the TV. Do you feel like you're giving up these chances just to homeschool your kids?
Okay, I would not look at it this way. It was something that I chose to do, so I would call it a sacrifice because this was something that I wanted to do for myself, for my children.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe for some people, they might think, wow, you gave out a lot, but I felt that I also gained a lot in the whole process of things,
course.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
That's so nice to hear.
Yeah, I'm very, I feel like I have a close relationship with my children. Yeah. And I'm grateful for the kind of trust that they have in me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So of course there were ups and downs. My daughter was at one point also very, very defiant.
Right.
As a teenager, you were very rebellious, lah. Yeah. But I think after that hurdle, after that hump that we went through, we are now even more close when she can look back and think about, what we have been through. Yeah.
I mean, people who are listening to this story right now, I'm sure they are thinking, I want to do this too. I want to, go get a yacht and then sail to wherever I want, at least for me. Asking for myself. Yes. But I'm sure they are thinking, then how do you guys get by? Do you guys work from home, or should I say work from boat? Or do you guys, how do you guys make money? Or
How do you sustain
yourself?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think right now, in this time and era, so when we did this, it was about more than 10 years ago, right?
Okay.
But in this time and era, I think there is a lot more opportunities out there for them to do this, really live it out. Yeah. So I have my number 3 who is very looking forward to doing that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. On YouTube paid subscription and things like that, right? I
Yes.
think, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So there are avenues out there right now. But back in our age and time, I think we really had to save. Yeah, we really had to save hard for that season. For us, I think out of the 4 years that we were staying on board, all right, there were about 2 years. I just delivered my child. So he was a really young toddler, wasn't even able to walk well.
In the yacht?
Yeah, so he was staying on the yacht. We were allowing ourselves to acclimatize to living on board. And the actual sailing only took about a year. Then
Okay.
after that, we have to look at preparing the kids. So we got to get them to come back already. Yeah.
Right, I
So
see.
that's why I can look at it as it's more like a tryout for us lah. In the long term, whether this is going to be feasible for us when the
Yes.
kids are away, or even if they are joining us on this thing, whether it is a feasible thing for us to do. Yeah. So we save hard. We were still working while we were staying on board,
Okay.
acclimatizing. And then, the actual journey took about 1 year where we really just didn't do anything.
And just sail.
And just sail, yeah.
How have you seen your kids, is your kid different from other kids you have seen because of this special experience that you have?
Well, I hope so. I hope that, they would have something more to share And I think in terms of experience, in terms of growing up experience, they would probably have something different, you know, instead of, so when they meet somebody, you know, people
Story to tell.
yeah, they will have stories to tell. Yeah. And also I think they also grew in their faith, I think, you know, and the relationship that they have and their trust in the parents. Yeah. So I remember one incident where, you know, we were coming up into a storm and the skies were very gloomy. And my daughter came out, you know, from below deck and asked, Mama, are we going to be okay? The sea state was a bit rough. Yeah. So I looked at Darren and then he smiled and then, you know, I told her, don't worry, I think everything's going to be fine. Okay, Daddy's at the helm. And she really just went back into her room to do her things. And the storm came, the storm passed, and everybody is still intact.
Aww.
Praise God. And I think, you know, that speaks for a child, right? Like when you are really, your safety and your well-being is really in the hands of a trusted adult, you know, your parents. Yeah, I think that really, so she's very, very close to her dad, you know, she really, really adores Daddy. And she's very close to the family. And I think, I hope like it was through experiences like that where we team bond together. Yeah, we bonded together as a team. Yeah.
So would typically your kids tell you everything that happens to them, like emotionally, physically? Are they open with you?
Some more open than others. Yeah. Personality, I think, you know, plays a part in it as well. Yeah. So my daughter is really an open book. She would share with me a lot. My number 3 is also, Number 2, he's a little bit more reserved, but you know, when you talk to him, he's willing to share and open up. Yeah.
And number 4 is too young for now.
Number 4 is everything you know about it. Yeah, he's still at the age, you know, where he's a young child who is very happy to get you to be involved in his life. So you're talking about teenagers here, right? Yeah, that's a different breed altogether. Yeah. Yeah.
Can I ask you one question? Would you be okay if your kids dated a non-Christian?
I think, why not? Yeah.
You're open to it?
Yes, definitely. You know, God asks us to not judge. Who are we to judge? So I am not averse to the idea.
But what if until the point they get married and even after the point they get married, the other half still remains a non-Christian?
It is something that is not within our control. So we can continue to pray, for God to reveal himself to them. And for that person to have an open heart. Yeah. God is so good, you cannot miss it, Mana. So, you know, you must open your heart and feel him.
Yeah. I mean, this is what's happening in my relationship with Hazy. Like, I'm born a Christian and I am a Christian now, but she's not. She goes to church sometime with me.
Okay.
And of course, there are people who say like, and of course in the Bible as well, it says, you know, to marry a Christian.
To be equally yoked,
yes,
right?
equally yoked. That's
Equally what? Sorry?
Equally yoked. So when you say equally yoked, the meaning is to say that, you know, you are of the same values, of the same faith. Yeah.
You're moving forward together.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's something that I'm struggling as well. You know, of course, I want my wife to also be a Christian and for us to have the same values. Even, I think when kids comes in, then that's when all this thing becomes, it's either you make it or you break it, you know? So, but I'm very glad that she's not closed off to the idea of going to church with me, which I really, really appreciate.
Yeah, a lot of people are asking how we navigate our religious differences. But the thing is, we are, or at least I am okay with it being the way it is. I am okay visiting the church with him when I have time, and he's okay with me not coming sometimes when I don't have the time. I had asked him this question once before, that is, what if I don't ever become a Christian? Would you be okay with that?
Would you be okay with that?
I want the experience for her and God to be her experience. Like, I wouldn't want her to tap onto my experience with God because I think that won't be fair.
His mom actually said that, you know, she hopes that ultimately I will become a Christian. But she has also told me that most importantly, I must experience that journey for myself and not do it because my husband, my future husband or his family, you know, believes in Christ.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is meaningless, right? Yeah. It will not be of any meaning to you and you're doing it to please. And when you do that, that is really it kills the joy lah in a marriage, right? Yeah. So you're marrying him, you're marrying him for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not for his God or for yeah. So you're coming into a union together where you agree to still be individuals.
Yes.
Yeah. Your individual personalities, but at the same time, to help the other person grow as a person.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important thing. So at the back of the mind, I think, the question that you should really ask is, are your values aligned with each other? So because it is very important to later on use religion and say that, it's because of this, that's why you're like that. But basically, at the end of the day, what you really must answer is, are you equally minded in the things that you view, how you view things?
Yeah. Thankfully, we've been through a couple sessions of premarital coaching, and that seems to work out for us.
Okay.
Like the way we think, our goals, they're pretty much aligned. But of course, nothing is ever perfect. So it's still a work in progress.
Yes,
and
yes.
we're constantly still working towards a better version of ourselves.
Yeah. And whether, there is a respectful communication, because, that's where there are bound to be differences.
Yep.
So, but when those differences comes along, how are you going to manage those differences? And, respect is very important, correct? Not so being able to understand each other's views and to love each other to the extent where, you may be willing to agree to disagree and respectfully allow that person to move on. All right. But in a way that it doesn't compromise who you are as a couple and as individuals. Yeah.
Well, before we wrap things up, Evelyn, I just want to ask you, what do you think your marriage stands for now versus what it stood for 20 years ago? Is there a difference?
Yes, I think there's something that is very marked out for me, when I look at our relationship now and I think back about, what I thought of marriage as in the past. And in the past, I used to think about marriage as, two strong individuals coming together and then, building something beautiful. But now I realize that the whole is more powerful and more than the individual parts add up together. Yeah. So that one thing that we have right now between us is more than who we are. And it encompasses a lot more, the love, the patience, the forbearance, the meeting of minds, the growing of a family. We have brought so much more together into this equation of things. And I thought that was a very beautiful thought. Yeah, we've created something more beautiful than who we are individually. Yeah,
That's nice. I cannot wait for one day where I can say the same things as you are saying right
I'm
now.
sure you will. With God's grace and with His love. You have a big job to do, yeah?
I do.
You have to show Jesus to her,
Yes.
and love her in the way that Jesus sacrificed for the church, right?
Yes, I do.
I'm sure, when you see a kind of love that is so beautiful, there's no way that you can reject it. Yeah, and you will be blessed.
Okay.
Aww.
Okay. Keeping
I
your
wish
words
you-
very close to heart.
I wish both of you, well in your next phase in life.
Thank
and I'm
you.
sure that, with the love that you have, both of you will make it well.
Thank
Yeah?
you.
Thank you so much.
To our listeners and viewers who are tuning in, if you feel like, there's a difference that's too big to bridge between you and your other half, I feel like what Eve has taught us or shared with us today shed a lot of light on how I can better navigate my differences moving forward with James. Thank you so much for sharing your stories.
You're most welcome, Hazel. My pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you for giving us a peep into your such an interesting life.
Yeah.
you,
And for your
James.
wisdom
Yeah.
as well.
Thank you. Yeah.
We hope you guys enjoyed this episode and we'll catch you next time on The,
The Couples Classroom. Bye.